Hey guys, Stu again. Another video in our Kettlebell 101 series. Last video, if you haven't seen it yet, you might want to go back, was focused on the high tension double arm, high tension swing, foundational exercise. This video, we're going to actually build on that, or maybe dissect it a little bit. We're going to, or evolve that, let's just say evolve that move and actually move into single arm. So again, swings can be executed again, double arm like we did last time. We're going to talk about single arm. The most important thing about single arm swings, or maybe the biggest mistake I see people doing when they're doing single arm swings is, well, two things. So one is that the mistake I see is that the non-swinging arm, people let it just be passive. That idea that I'm just swinging, whatever arm is doing the swing, that's a mistake. So we're going to talk about that. Even though I may only be swinging the bell with one hand, this second arm is an integral part of the swing and needs to be active. The second thing that I probably see people doing was when they transition from double arm to single arm, they drop the weight. And the reality is, if we do it right, you should be able to do the exact same weight with roughly the same amount of effort as you did in double arm with single arm. You may not understand how it is, but we'll show you. But that should be the goal, is that as I transition from double arm to single arm, and that's something we can even do in the course of a circuit, which we're going to talk about. So creating, ultimately our goal, once you know, even at the end of this video or next one, that you can start to stitch together your own, create your own 2-minute circuits, combining different elements of these bells to create these 2-minute circuits, so you can stitch together your own workouts. Doing a combination of double arm and single arm. So the biggest difference, so the hike, the way we start a single arm swing is exactly the same way we start a double arm swing. We address the bell the same way. We're in the exact same kind of posture. The bell is actually in the same place. It's about 1.5 feet, 2 feet out in front of us, fingertips engaging. The biggest thing that we do here is, if we're gonna, there's a couple things. We can actually start a single arm swing using 2 arms to hike it, or we can do it right away. So if we're gonna hike the bell into a single arm swing using a single arm, we're still going to have both hands, to my first comment about both hands are active in this exercise. So if my right arm is going to be doing the actual swing, it's going to be the active. My left arm is still, at this point, in contact with the bell. And what I'm going to think of doing is the same mechanism of hiking. Now the only difference that you notice is that when I hike the bell with my single arm, is that as I came back, you notice that my non-swinging arm, you know, still came back but continued back. So I'll get into it, but there's a couple of variations, but watch what I'm going to do. I'll do a few variations of it. But the important thing is that arm's not just hanging out. It's not just, you know, waiting for its turn. It's active part of it. So single arm swing. Okay, so you notice I showed you 2 variations for the non-swinging arm. So when you hike the bell, or when you're actually on the downswing, I want you to think of that, almost using that other arm as almost like a counterweight or an exaggerated swing using that arm. It's really not important how far back it goes. The important thing is on the upswing, instead of that arm just hanging out passive, you saw me, I showed you two versions. One is that you could extend the arm into the swing as if it's operating in parallel. So even though this is the only arm that's grabbing the bell, this left arm could still come up. I could still have an open grip or a karate chop kind of grip, whatever I want. The second variation I showed you is the one I tend to prefer, is that as I swing, I'm actually moving into a flex position. So flexing that arm, my fist clamped, and squeezing the bicep into that tension, because again, we're thinking about high tension, creating that high tension situation. So either one, I would say experiment with both, see which one you like, see which one gives you the best feeling. One of the things I did there is I showed you switching hands dynamically. So when you're operating either, and you want to go from, in the single arm swing, you want to move from right arm to left arm, you can put the bell, you can return the bell to the resting position, change hands and hike it and start the swing that way. You can, transition into a double arm swing and then gradually take, so if I was swinging with this arm and I was getting ready to transition, I could do maybe one, maybe two double arm swings and then drop that other arm off. Or you can do what I did there, which is just basically, and this is the other advantage of that arm being active, is I could simply do a dynamic switch. So I'm here, I'm momentarily letting go of it and switching arms in that case. So again, everything else is similar. All the things we talked about in the double arm swing, the tension, the feeling of the bell floating at the top. We're still trying to get to the bell to the same position of horizontal or just below. And again, don't be concerned if, you're not always going to get there. On some swings you may end up a little bit lower. I want you to be more concerned about going too high because again, in my opinion, I feel, for me at least, that once I start to go above parallel, above horizontal, it feels like I lose the effectiveness of the exercise. It's wasted energy. And again, one of the big things in kettlebell, you want to use energy as efficiently as you can. So don't get concerned if you only get there. Think of it as a cone. The important part is paying attention to that point when you feel like the bell is starting to float. And even when that's still going to be the case when I'm doing single arm, I'm going to feel like the bell is starting to float. And again, just like with double arm, I want to then initiate the downswing. I'm controlling the bell through the exercise. So when I get to that point, I want to initiate the downswing and start to bring the bell down. Everything else is the same. The position I want to be in at the bottom of the swing in terms of my hand position. I don't want the bell too low. I don't want the bell too far back. Again, for me with the non-swinging arm, I like to feel like I'm in a position almost like a runner at that point where that arm, and I'm going to swing that arm. This arm's going to be moving a little bit faster initially to catch up because it's moving from a further distance back. And again, whether you like to do, like I do, like the flex, or the open arm is fine. So, single arm swings. Those are all the core elements. So again, hiking, variations, again, depending on how you feel, encourage you, use the same weight. If you want to do double arm initially and then drop the arm, you can. If you want to dynamically switch where you're more comfortable putting it down, you can. Returning the bell. If you're more comfortable swinging with the single arm right from the ground, I would encourage you to try to get to that point. Again, the idea is that I'm initiating that downswing of the bell. I'm still feeling in a very solid position. I like to return it to the ground with two hands. So, double arm high tension swings, single arm high tension swings. Gave you a couple variations in terms of what to do with the non-swinging arm. Have some fun.